There's a relatively new and deep small cap banking niche to know about, and it's experiencing a solid 2019 stock market rally. It's the group known as Fintech. Our chief equity strategist and economist, John Blank, is here to elaborate. John, what exactly is FinTech? It stands for financial technology, but what does that take in?
Yeah, FinTech, Terry, to be very specific, is any application, process, product, or business model in the financial services industry that provides an end-to-end process via the Internet, just the Internet. So it's end-to-end processes that end with the Internet. So this is the key fact. They're not bricks and mortar banks or financial outfits. They are only Internet-only end-to-end processes within financial technology.
So just to clarify, is this an up-and-coming group to keep an eye on, or has this group been around for a while?
Well, it's been around since the Internet days, but it's gotten a lot more press lately. And right now in our Zacks industry rank, it is number 18 out of 254, top 7% of the industry. So it is getting analyst coverage, is getting earnings estimates upgrades, and it's certainly worth the stock pickers' interest.
Is that why it's got a good Zacks industry ranking to it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question that the analyst coverage is going up and people got more bullish on this industry. More and more people are getting more and more comfortable, basically, doing Internet-type services with banking. Obviously, the most notable latest turn up is in the Bitcoin industry. Don't support that whole bit myself, but it shows the interest of Internet-only financial businesses.
So this takes in a broad spectrum of things, including the cryptocurrencies, as you just said. There's a global market impact here because of that. But are we getting set up for a replay of 2007, taking that into account?
That's it, Terry. I mean, the thing people don't have to understand is in 2007, the other big new idea is we weren't going to deal with the banks anymore. We're going to securitize mortgages and disintermediate the banking system. And we had new credit performance metrics that could perform well and didn't need the banking system. So suddenly, it sounds like deja vu, particularly, Terry, some of the fintech firms here who are in student loan businesses. There's a company called Navient and actually Sallie Mae, which are basically both of the same version of previously government-sponsored entities of student loans. They're in there. They're highly ranked. But step back and ask yourself, defaults, right? Student defaults. Unemployment rises, student default go up. These types of industries could be hammered. So this is the other worry, and the reason why we're going to bring it to the story is not bullish, which is that this is the source of a contagion and a blowout and cause of a recession. You need to know about fintech for that reason, too.
All right. So that said, how did the year-to-date returns of the group compare with the broad market?
Well, let's take a look at, for example, Navient. If I go in there and take a look at Navient, I find out that they've done extremely well relative to the overall market. The year-to-date return here for consumer loans is 32% year-to-date versus the S&P, sometimes 15 to 20%. So very, very well. Over the last 6 months, 6% versus 3%. Over the last 1 month, 2.7 versus 1.4. So no matter what you do and look at here, you're going to get basically twice the returns in these fintech industries. That's the amount of buying interest people have.
Navient Corp, NAVI, the ticker, one of the three stocks in this group that you say is worth considering. Encore Capital Group and Lexin Fintech Holdings Limited, ADRs, are the other two.
Right. Encore Capital Group, let's get them on the table first. That is ticker ECPG. This is a leading provider of debt management recovery solutions for consumers. So these guys basically try to collect debt, and they are using services on the Internet and tracking people down with data. So worth to know them. Lexin Fintech only is an online consumer finance platform primarily in China, Lexin Fintech. So obviously the other way that this is working is people are taking this model and putting it to work in China. That's ticker LX. Navient, we've already mentioned, that is ticker NAVI. And Navient is in the student loan business. It operates in 4 segments, though, and there's this thing called FELP loans, which are education loans that are made to people outside the student loan. They're basically private student loans with which have been sponsored or subsidized in some respects. So you can see these are really different business models. Is Fintech is a basically consumer-owned internet thing in China. We've got Navient, which is student loans, and Encore Capital, which is basically getting on the web and using data to track down people to get people to pay debts. So it's really not one type of business that's involved here. It's a very broad space. Most of these are small cap firms, so you got to be careful here. But you have to like the industry as a high beta sector as long as people are buying stuff like this.
Chief Equity Strategist and Economist John Blank taking a look at fintech, especially in the context of the global markets. With John, I'm Terry Ruffalo.
This material is being provided for informational purposes only, and nothing herein constitutes investment, legal, accounting, or tax advice, or a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold a security. Do not act or rely upon the information and advice given in this podcast without seeking the services of competent and professional legal, tax, or accounting counsel. Publication and distribution of this podcast is not intended to create, and the information contained herein does not constitute an attorney-client relationship. No recommendation or advice is being given as to whether any investment or strategy is suitable for a particular investor. It should not be assumed that any investments in securities, companies, sectors, or markets identified and described were or will be profitable. All information is current as of the date herein and is subject to change without notice. Any views or opinions expressed may not reflect those of Zacks Investment Research as a whole.